Welcome to another episode of the State 48 Community Corner. I'm your host, Zach Hall, and today we're at Arizona's iconic brewing company, none other than Four Peaks Brewery. You might know it for the 8th Street Ale, Sun Brew, Hop Knot, all the best brews you're used to, but today we're gonna learn more, gonna go on a tour, and check out our collaboration with State 48. So, I gotta go in, there's a cold beer waiting. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, thanks for coming.
Aaron Schultz, Culture and Marketing Manager here at Four Peaks. We're gonna go inside, we're gonna get this tour, but I gotta get myself a Sun Brew first.
Well, Zach, thank you for joining us. I know you want a Sun Brew, but before you do, I wanted to try a couple of other beer options that we have here.
Awesome.
So we have the Oktoberfest, it's a Vienna style lager, just came out.
Great.
The White Ale, which is all Arizona local ingredients. It's a Belgian wit beer made with Snoren white wheat and green-filled citrus oranges. And then we have our Kit Lifter, which is a flagship. It's a Scottish style amber and oatmeal stout.
Well, in this episode of the Community Corner, as you can see, there's going to be libations. I can't wait to continue to enjoy them, but also we're going to walk around, take a tour. I have a lot to learn about craft brewery. I do know I love coming to Four Peaks for happy hour, usually on the weekends and for dinner, but from what I understand, there's so much more.
So much more.
Where do we start?
We have a ton of food. We have a ton of events coming up, a lot of things to talk about, big old tour to get on, and then you can have your Sun Brew.
Awesome. Actually, we're going to go ahead and start the tour.
I'll take it. We are coming up on our 22nd anniversary this year. We'll have our anniversary party in November the 16th at our Wilson location.
Okay.
So that's big for Arizona, as you know, it's a fairly young state. We started this flagship building here, built in 1892, was the old Borden's Ice and Creamery. So we took it over in 1996, 95, 96-ish. And so slowly but surely turned it into this huge beast of a brewery that you see now.
So as we walk in, you can't help but notice all these tanks. So what am I looking at and how is this all being done?
So right now you're looking at a whole process of the brewery system right in front of us. But where we started, our original history came from selling a whole bunch of Grundy tanks.
Okay. What are Grundy tanks?
Grundy tanks. They hold beer. So right now for us in our Grundy room, they're holding all the beer that's going onto the draft out into the pub right now. And that's all the finished beer sitting in the cooler. And so basically we sold them all throughout the US. So if you find a brewery in the US that has a Grundy tank, more than likely we sold that. And that's what funded our brewery to start.
Wow.
So that's the beginning of us. This is our Grundy room. This is our master cooling room for the bar. And these are our Grundy tanks. This is what's left over that we didn't want to sell, that we kept just for us to be able to use here. So, I mean, instead of having to go through 1 or 2 kegs, having a blow or whatever, we just put a whole bunch in one, and then we might have to change this like once or twice.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
So when you're doing tours, I'm sure everybody loves their beer, gets to come through, and then you guys do brewery tours?
Yes.
How far back do you bring them? Like, if I'm at home watching this, how much of a tour do I get? Is this exclusive, or is this what everybody gets to see?
This is what everyone gets to see.
Thought this was exclusive. This is still exclusive.
Well, come on. We can do exclusive too.
Yeah.
That's when you get into the haunted stories and stuff like that. So right here in the old Borden's Creamery, this was the cheese room. One of the haunted stories on that is that somebody did get stuck in the cheese maker, in the cottage cheese maker, and potentially might have died in the cottage cheese maker. So that's an extended version of the ghost story tour.
That's awesome.
So he still haunts this place today, apparently.
Good for him.
So this was the old ice house portion of the creamery. When I first started over 7 years ago, this was where we had our very first canning line. It probably took up a quarter of this room. We didn't distribute as much as we do now, so yeah, just even 5 years ago is a huge difference from where we are as a brewery. And now it serves as one of 2 barrel aging rooms. We do everything Woodford, usually Four Roses. We go there, we pick a couple barrels. They give us back the liquor that's in those barrels. We sell it at the bar. Then we use those barrels to barrel age our next batches of typically Serious Black, but a lot of things. So we work with Four Roses, Woodford Reserve, Breckenridge, a couple, maybe Buffalo Trace here and there.
Crazy.
A lot of these are 2018, but you can see stuff go all the way back to about 2016. I think we just had a hopscotch we tapped at 2016, which was super smooth. So our water is a huge thing for us. As you know, Arizona does not have the best water in the world. It's kind of filled with a lot of minerals and stuff like that. So we clean all of our water out, strip it completely down. It's all RO water. It's right here. That's what's in our misters, in our ice, in our drinking water, and in our beer. So when we do that, when we want to make a beer from a certain style, and we'll talk about the flags later because that's where that kind of comes into play. Okay. We rebuild the minerals that are in the water from that area where that style was born.
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I can't help but to smell this room as we walk in. What do I?
So this is your fermenting room. This is where everything is settling, lagering, depends on what's in there. And then this is also the original dairy portion where the milk and stuff was done in the Bordens. So like the old train would come up around the back of this and then just drop stuff off. And then 8th Street itself used to be the Bankhead Highway. It's the only strip in, I think, the country that still exists as part of it. So 8th Street was Bankhead Highway, which was coast-to-coast highway, like hundreds of years ago. This leads us to what we call the Twombly Room. This portion used to be owned by an architect, a photographer, in the 70s, something like that. And then we ended up expanding. The Cafe Italia Espresso is right next door to this. So we use a lot of their beans for stuff like our Series Black. And then over here is our huge barrel aging room. At one point, this was the marketing office, and they kicked us out to turn it into a barrel aging room. But it obviously is much better purpose this way.
So what kind of barrel aged beers are we looking at in here?
You're looking at a ton of stuff.
So
a lot of Series Black, a lot of Bourbon Barrel Kilt and Bourbon Barrel Raj, as those are some of the most looked for. Hopscotch for sure. A lot of secret stuff that I don't even know about is going on in there. A lot of testing stuff. They kind of play with stuff all the time, so you never know what's going to come out. And the side room over there is where we have our 2 fooders. Just came in this last year, and so like I told you, our Raspberry Goza was the very first batch that came out of that, along with the Kleinweiss. That's Four Peaks.
So great. So far this has been awesome, but I'd like to think this is exclusive, but I know you guys do brewery tours. What are those like?
So we do brewery tours on Saturday, 10:30 in the morning and then noon. We're going to start haunted brewery tours all of October, which is Wednesday night, 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. It starts beginning of October. So the first Wednesday of October ends the last Wednesday of October, which just so happens to coincide with our pumpkin carving contest.
That's awesome.
And our tapping of double pumpkin.
Awesome.
Which is delicious. My favorite beer.
We'll put that in the calendar as well. So tell me about, the collaborations. We're a proud partner with State 48. We love working with you guys. Why are local collaborations so important to
I think the best thing about working with local communities, or local businesses in general is, you help each other. Everyone helps each other. And everyone is just really showcasing what Arizona can do. And that's what it's all about. Like, we've got a ton of really talented people in Arizona, and a lot of the world doesn't know that, but we do. And so it's kind of one of those things, like, you help the next person, that person helps the next person, and we all kind of like come up together, as a big community.
And that's been the best part with State 48 is our doors continue to be knocked on and like, hey, I do this. Okay, well, great. If you do this, we also work with Four Peaks who does that. And next thing you know, 3 local companies are working together, doing amazing things like the teacher campaign and the teacher bags. And it comes back to just drinking beers with your friends at a local business. So,
well, everything comes back to drinking beers with your friends.
Home brewery is a big deal right now. Everybody's trying to do this home brew. This is Arizona's home brew.
Yes.
So as a state, as a community, this is ours.
Yeah.
So some of the favorite beers, I love the Sun Brew, big fan of Oktoberfest. Talk about some of your seasonal options and why that's a big deal.
Well, so, I mean, obviously we have our mainstays and they'll be around for forever. And I love those. Killifter, our flagship. Hop Knot is just one of my favorite go-tos.
Is it 8th Street? I know
8th
some
Street,
friends
yep.
love 8th Street.
Yeah, that's like a solid, if you've been coming here for a long time and you're a regular, you know about 8th Street, but we don't really have too much of it out in the market. But like our single tank series right now, the one that just came out that I'm a big fan of is the Raspberry Goza, which is amazing. We did that, so we just brought in 2 fooders that are in the back in our barrel aging room, and that is one of the first beers that we've produced from that, and it's absolutely delicious. 40 barrel system for that. And then Oktoberfest just came out. We're about to hit our pumpkin porter on August 26th.
What are they called, the shots? The pumpkin porter shots, or is it the Oktoberfest?
Pumpkin bomb.
Pumpkin bomb. Everybody. One of my first times at Four Peaks, we did a pumpkin bomb, and that's when I walked in, and
You have to.
Yes, you love it because it's an old brick building and there's history, and you love it because it's local. But then when they turn you on to the pumpkin bomb, I'm in.
And the pumpkin shake.
Pumpkin shake?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're doing pumpkin porter cheesecake pies.
Of course.
You got to bring it all in.
Naturally, I've come to Four Peaks on the weekends. I come on happy hour, but what are you guys doing throughout the entire year? Dinners, foods? Tell me more.
Oh, so a lot of stuff. We're involved in a multitude of events throughout the year in Arizona and even in some of our expansion states. We're doing dinners. We have beer academies going on. It's a series of 4 like beer educational events. It's actually Cicerone, the person that's teaching it is an advanced Cicerone. So it's kind of Cicerone certified information. It's a very extensive run of how beer is made, the sensory system, all about the water, and so on and so forth. That's probably one of our really cool up-and-coming things that we're doing, and it's a 4-part series, so we're right in the middle of that. We're doing a pumpkin carving contest in October. We're part of the Oktoberfest that's happening down at Tempe Beach Park. That's huge for us.
Event. Yeah. That's a downtown staple here in Tempe.
Yeah, it sounds like it wouldn't be because we're Arizona, but it's huge, and we make a big deal about it. Doing a big parade from 8th Street to Tempe Beach Park.
Okay.
Friday to kick it off, bringing the golden keg over.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's gonna be big.
Put that in the calendar.
Yes, definitely.
I'll have to let the guys know that day we're unavailable.
Yeah.
We're part of the. Are there like floats in the parade? Like, can we get all in on this parade?
If you want to get into the parade, let me know.
Mike, we're gonna get into the parade. We're gonna let Mike know we're gonna get in the parade. All right, so on the tour, you talked about the water, you talked about the flags, and whenever you walk in, you can't help but to notice all these flags from around the world. What's the meaning behind this?
So they all have meaning, and we collect them basically. But the brewery gets them every time. So every time we're brewing a different style of beer, we really want to go and find out about where that style was brewed, who brewed it, what kind of water is in that area, and so they actually go do research those areas when they're like when we did Sunbrew or when we did Killifter, and then we either are gifted a flag to us from each area we go, or we bring a flag back from each area we've been. So these are all the areas that they have been to research beer, water, and the styles.
So I see a lot of local teams up there, but I can't help but to notice there's a Vikings flag. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Yeah, so we are mostly born and raised Arizona, but 3 of the brewers themselves are born and raised in Minnesota, as well as a lot of our other employees are born and raised in Arizona somehow. I think that just Arizona is a melting pot of people. I'm born and raised here, but I don't know a lot of people that are born and raised here. So I noticed there's a lot of Minnesotans in Arizona, and that's kind of how that came about. So they still show some love back to their old school, and it is a good place to see a Vikings game.
From one native to the other.
Yeah.
Native Arizona.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, so today's a really cool day. Not only did we get an exclusive tour, but Jim Scussel, one of the co-founders from 1996 here at Four Peaks. Jim, thanks so much for having us. This is incredible.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for coming.
So tell me a little bit about when you guys got started to where you are at today.
Yeah, well, you know, we started 1996, moved in this decrepit old building, spent about 2 years renovating it. We did sell some brewing equipment that we imported from England, so that was a great kind of a motivator to get us going. put all that money back in the brewery. We opened December of '96, and we just grew small and slowly throughout those years to become the 45th largest brewery in the country, and especially with in one state, which was very rare. So we went really deep in our backyard. Kilt Lifter is our flagship brand that really kind of paved the way for our success. And also other beers on the wall. We've won over 30 some medals, whether it was the World Beer Cup or the Great American Beer Festival. So just stayed true to what we were and brewed beers to style, and just grew slow.
How are you guys still so local? I think a lot of people were saying, oh, now they're a national brand, or you guys are still the same Four Peaks right here.
Yeah, so we're not national brand. That's not really going to happen. We're just staying regional, but with the purchase of Anheuser-Busch, they've allowed us to, they've really helped us grow. We're in 8 states, just in the western region. We got Hawaii, California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, and Colorado. And we're just going to pretty much stay in that area and just go a little bit deeper in those areas. But they've allowed us to do that, to expand. They've also increased our safety, our lab equipment, our quality's gone way up. The mobility for our staff, they can work now anywhere in the world. They own breweries all over, so instead of just having to stop at Four Peaks, our staff can go work in labs in Leuven, Belgium, where they make Stella. Awesome. So the opportunities for everyone's just grown. They've left us alone, as you can see. There's no Bud Light on tap, and they've allowed us to take the pressure off Kilt Lifter. This brewery now is so innovative that we're expanding our barrel program. We're doing all kinds of different beers. Where in the past we were just too busy brewing Kilt Lifter. So now we can brew a lot of different unique beers, and that's why we have 10 to 15 beers on tap now.
So you've got a wide variety of beers. As one of the co-founders, what's your favorite beer?
My favorite's the Hop Knot.
Okay.
It's my always go-to. It's an IPA, but it's more of an Arizona style, so it's not thick in malt. The malt doesn't weigh me down, but the hops are still there. So that's why I like it, because I can drink more than 1 or 2 and not feel full. Yeah.
All the years of doing Oktoberfest, you got to have some pretty cool stories.
Yeah, been to the one in Munich, and the one here I think rivals it. I think it's just as fun. The best story I have was the mayor, Mark Mitchell, broke my finger. So every year we have the cask that we bring out on the Friday opening ceremony, and we have to drive the spike, the spigot into the cask, into the wood cask, so we can pour the beer. Well, Mark didn't want to hold the faucet and pound the thing in, so I said, I'll hold the faucet for you. So I was holding it, and he took the big mallet and missed it and just smashed my finger, and I had to take over, put it in there. We finally got it done. Didn't think how bad it was until it just swelled up like a balloon. And so I told Mark he owed me one for that. So I've been collecting ever since.
That's awesome. So with Oktoberfest coming up this year, is there anything great coming up you guys are a part of?
Well, we just got done with Four Peaks for Teachers, which a long time ago, I had friends that were teachers. I knew that they had to go buy their supplies. I thought that was ridiculous. So we started small, and now it's grown to over 5,000 packages. Now we're going into Nevada and New Mexico. So we just got that done because school started. We've got Oktoberfest coming down the rail. A lot of fall. We got pumpkin porter. We've got Halloween.
What are the shots called? The bombers? The porter bombs? When you do the pumpkin porter and the shots that go in after it?
I don't know. Those were the well, not the Irish car bombs.
Yeah.
But it's a takeoff on that.
That's awesome. One of my first time to Four Peaks. That was the first thing I ever had, and I fell in love that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was the best.
Well, we'll have to do that come October.
So one last thing is I heard about the parade. I already yelled at Mike. We're going to get on the parade. What do we got to do to be a part of the parade?
Just come and show up.
Mike, we're in!
Yeah, you guys are in, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'd shake your hand, but I feel like this is more appropriate. Thank you so much for having us. Cheers.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, that's another episode of the State 48 Community Corner. As you can see, we're collaborating with everybody, even the icon Four Peaks Brewery here in Tempe. If you would like to collaborate with us, check us out at state48.com or shoot us an email, info@state48.com. If you love these community corners, make sure you subscribe because we have some amazing stories to tell because we got so many collaborations coming up this fall. Now, if you don't mind me, got a beer over here with my name on it and I'm excited to enjoy some Four Peaks Brewery. We'll see you next time.